tonight's teaching is going to answer the question of identifying the source of unworthiness. There are two basic paths on the spiritual journey. There are people that tend to naturally be self-absorbed, and that's their path to integrate that. And there are some people that are just hardwired to be more selfless, and that is an equal but different integration. I've often described it as there's an inferior ego and a superior ego. A superior ego is an ego structure that's fed by believing it's better than others, and an inferior ego structure that believes it's less than others. So as heart-centered, empathic, energetically sensitive beings, which do you suppose we are? Right? We wouldn't be caught dead thinking we're better than other people because we were raised in codependent families, we're people pleasers, emotional doormats. Our ego is believing that we are less than. Even if we don't make it less than others, we're just less than. We don't even go for comparison. We're just less than. And so we have a different type of journey than someone who tends to naturally be self-absorbed. When you're self-absorbed, you're all about your experience at the exclusion of other people's experience. And that type of surrender is a journey of mindfulness, of waking up and realizing, oh, there's more than just me in the world. And for some people, that's a great, grand realization. Oh, wow, there's more than just me. And when you integrate that type of self-absorbed ego, these are the people that wind up becoming philanthropists and use their power and authority and grand finances to help fund a lot of beautiful things in the world when it really gets integrated. But for heart-centered beings, we are of the inferior variety. We are the ones that are feeling the most, taking on the most, doing the most for others, wondering why others aren't doing for us as we do for them. We have a very specific ego trip, and it's called unworthiness. And you know what the cause of unworthiness is? It will blow your mind. Here's what's going to happen. I'm going to tell you what it is, and you're going to say, stop. Not true. And then I'm going to unpack this teaching. The source of unworthiness is not enough ego. Stop. Matt, go home, cut his mic. Now he's just making up new teachings. Not enough ego. I've sat with this for 3 months to really, really unpack it. Because here's the insight. You actually need to have some ego in order to integrate your ego. Because an ego's job is to help you be independent, self-reliant, and self-sufficient. And there's a lot of us on this journey who get blasted into awakening and can't take care of ourselves. When you come back to the body on the round trip ticket of awakening, you come back to the body, back to your personality, and back to ego. But when the ego is integrated, the ego is now a servant for the masterful soul that's awake within you. So the ego is no longer your guardian or your prison warden. Your ego is fully surrendered into service to you, the creator. When you integrate an ego, it's not that there's no ego, it's that your ego is a mechanism and an expression of consciousness, not an inflated expression of unconsciousness. You want to be completely enlightened and transcendent? Be an individual. Be a person. Stand up for yourself. Have boundaries. Have pride. Have confidence. Have self-esteem. As an energetically sensitive soul, our journey of awakening is to learn how to be so emotionally free and transcendent we actually enjoy being ourselves. That's our enlightenment. Liking you. You want to contribute to world peace? Just stop where you're at and like yourself. You will be doing more for the world by liking yourself than trying to do all the spiritual gymnastics that ultimately is just your way from hiding from either personal interactions or hiding from being your human self. When you are a self-absorbed ego, a superior ego, and you have this inflated view of yourself, the spiritual journey is humbling. Oh my God. It's not all about me, this character. There's a higher power I surrender to. For a narcissist or a self-absorbed being, the spiritual path is much like the 12-step program. I can't do this myself. There's a higher power. I surrender. And here's the thing. That's the path that we thought we were supposed to be on too. But you want to know how you know that's not your path? Because you do those steps and nothing gets better. You just get more inferior and insecure and worried and small. Where you feel like just breathing and existing around other people is imposing onto other people. And do you know what spares you of this? Actually having the right to have an ego. Because you have an ego. All you have to do to integrate it is stop denying it. The key is integrating your ego. On an energetic level, we call that being grounded, fully embodied, taking care of yourself, nourishing your body, knowing when your energy is low, how to replenish it. When you're in a conversation, I think this is too much for me. I need to end the conversation and have some boundaries. I think this is too much for me. Oh, I didn't create the boundary. Here comes anger and resentment. Oh, I can't get that on the person. Passive aggressive. Passive aggressive. Nope, not going to let passive aggressive out. Just going to fester inside me so it doesn't get on them. Indigestion. When an ego is integrated as an expression of consciousness, you are aware of a bigger cosmic view, but you're able to care for yourself. You're able to know what you want. You're able to acknowledge what you need. You're able to desire without thinking your happiness belongs to some outcome or situation that's not here right now. You know that when you don't get what you want, it's because you're getting what you need. There's a certain level of sanity when your ego is integrated. You're a spiritual being, but we don't hide behind these topics as the only conversation we want to have. We're able to talk from an emotional perspective. We're able to have hobbies. We're able to actually have beliefs. We're actually able to have opinions without thinking we're taking away from anything. And we don't need to judge other people for being self-involved, self-absorbed, and self-inflated because we know their journey of integration and awakening is just as intense as ours is waking up out of unworthiness. And that's where mindfulness and compassion comes from. And when you allow yourself to have the right to have an ego, and to make decisions and to carve your own path. And not everyone needs to be happy with the decisions you make, but you're still doing it in the most loving, mindful way. And even when other people aren't really happy with what you're doing, you're at least speaking and loving and responding to people with utmost respect and love. then you actually learn what it is to be your highest potential. But you have to be willing to be a person and an individual in order for the divine to fully awaken inside of you. And separation is when the universe's love of being you is different from your experience of being you. And oneness is when the universe desire to be you and your desire to be nowhere else, no one else, and nothing else but you. When that matches up, that's the new paradigm answer for oneness. Otherwise, you're going to get into this fancy dance about oneness and what is and what isn't oneness. And then you make it into a reference point, which makes you think, when will I get to oneness, like it's a location? When will I attain oneness, like it's an achievement? And now we've made it into something it's not. You cannot bypass being a person. Which is why you're always in life in these circumstances where you have to make a decision. And if you try to be in this old school, I'm going to be instead of do, you're going to get a third right. Being and doing are like the green and red lights of traffic. There's a moment to go and there's a moment to stop. When it's time to stop, we breathe, we be, we recharge, we replenish. And when the light goes from red to green, you floor the accelerator and you get to where you got to go. But to try to make it all doing or all being and flip-flop back and forth, we got to bring it all together. And when you're integrated, all of your doing comes from a state of being, so it actually uplifts and energizes your field instead of depleting it. So this is about integration of the ego, and you have to actually have an ego to integrate it. Otherwise, you're going to walk around at this dinner party called life, refusing to wear a name tag and thinking that's freedom. That's not freedom, that's non-commitment. When you're really liberated, you can commit to this play, you can have fun, you can be polite, you can be irreverent, you can be unique, you can be creative, you can be all that you are. And you don't have to worry about keeping it straight, because there are all sides to your divinity. There's an inspired you, there's a introspective you, there's a creative you, there's a remorseful you, there can be a sad you, there can be a fearful you. And instead of thinking, oh, well, enlightenment wouldn't be fearful or sad, think of it this way. It takes being completely liberated and emotionally free to actually have the right to be sad. Being sad isn't about identifying with the feeling. Being sad is about, I am sad and I'm going to commit to this experience and let whatever wants to express itself be expressed. The old spirituality even gets you in this weird swirl where it goes, don't have an expectation because you're going to be disappointed. Don't have an expectation. No, you know what? Have expectations. And you know what? Some of them are going to actually come true, and some of them will be a crash and burn scenario. That's life at the roulette table. Spin the wheel. Let's make a deal. Let's live. Let's live. Hey, Matt, how you doing? Just spun the wheel. Didn't work out this time. Oh, well. When you fully commit to your experiences, they won't hurt that much. The reason our experiences hurt is because we don't commit to them. And if you want to heal sadness, you have to first be sad. If you want to heal fear, you have to actually be afraid and not try to psychoanalyze your way out of it. Not try to figure your way out of it. Before you can heal it, you have to be it. And if you can give yourself permission to fully be your experience, it will be a matter of moments before it starts to dissolve and unhook itself. Because it's our commitment to being fully in our experience that gives whatever that experience is the permission to integrate, to heal, and release. And we can't try to be these people who are trying to let things go all the time, which is another form of denial. Letting go is something that happens on the inside of you. You're not necessarily the one that lets things go. You're the one being let go of. And it will let go of you when you fully allow it to express its truth inside of you. We all want to belong. We all want to know we have a purpose. We all want to know that there's a bigger plan for all of us. And there is. But you have to be a person first. Because if you're not a person, you'll never know the divine. Because what's the divine doing? Being all people. And I'll tell you something that I learned throughout my life, that as I realized this in the early years of my development, people were not nice to me. And the people that were not nice to me were more committed to their judgment and persecution than I was committed to standing in my own space, standing for myself. And their cruelty was pulling me into the moment, pulling me into my body, saying, you are Matt Kahn, stand for something. They are screaming judgments. You scream back love. And that's why the love revolution exists. Because you got to scream. If you want to make it a chant, you can. But you have to stand for something. Because if you don't say anything, the creations of unconsciousness that seem like they're trying to attack and take you down. And when it seems like that, the first level of realization is that's not the reason why it's happening. That's just the divine exposing in me all the limiting beliefs I have. Where I believe in cruelty, where I believe in injustice and all these things. But deeper down the line, you realize, oh my God, this force of unconsciousness that is really consciousness dressed up as an unconscious force of judgment is actually pulling me into the experience of my life that I'm not fully committed to. Because I'll tell you firsthand, when you fully commit to your life, you are rarely touched and hurt. A lot of us get pulled into our experience because we're actually a little separate from our experience, observing, thinking, overanalyzing, and not in it. So life, as weird and wacky as this world seems to be, and every day, if you see it from a certain judgment, seems like it's going crazy. But what life is doing, like a cyclone or a hurricane of consciousness, all of us that are conscious beings who don't know that our journey is fully committing to our experience are on the periphery, on the outside, and are getting pulled into the eye of the hurricane. And life is saying, commit to this. And what our problem is we say, I'm not going to be a part of the world until it's the kind of world I want to live in. And life's like, that's not how this works. Because it takes the angelic presence, it takes the consciousness, it takes the radiance of your vibration fully committing to this world to make it into the heaven on earth you want to see. And we can't stand on the outside waiting for heaven to dawn, then we're going to waltz in and have a committed experience. No, we have to actually be a part of the world and go, okay, little crazy, roll up your sleeves, kind of the wild, wild west. These people are screaming judgments. I am going to proclaim the glory of love. And I'm going to stand for my experience so definitively that people who judge will stop in the midst of their judgment and go, that's a person I might be interested in getting to know. And all of a sudden, unconsciousness starts to be reformed. But we have to commit to our experience. And when you're disassociated, you think you're awake, but you're scattered, you're ungrounded, without the ability to focus, without the ability to commit to your experiences, to not know how to follow through. You start something, and then you don't finish it, and something else attracts you, and you go there, and you call that being present. That's being ungrounded. When we're grounded, when we're integrated, we complete what we start. We finish what we start. We take great pride in what we do. We take great pride in who we are. And we stand and occupy space as the person that we are. And who we are as an individual is a work of art. And every day we assist the universe in making this masterpiece even more masterful. You want to know the most self-defeating sentence in existence is? This shouldn't be this way. But it is. And nothing oddly more self-inflating than walking around in heaven's kingdom with some suggestions to offer. God, nice place. If I can make a few suggestions. If I can call in a few upgrades. As crazy as the world looks, it's perfect as it is. And for what we are creating as a species and a planet, and for what transformation is happening and will continue to happen, there's a reason why everything is exactly the way it is. It's not because of the Illuminati. It certainly isn't. And in order for your ego to integrate, it's about creating a loving relationship with your ego. And it's the love that you show your ego that creates the motivation for your soul to wake up and fully house itself in this body. It's not a matter of whether you do or don't have an ego. The question is, what type of relationship do you have with it? And when you start creating a loving relationship with the things inside of you that you're too embarrassed for other people to see, that's when you start to heal patterns of self-judgment. And as you heal self-judgment inside of you, the world around you over a period of time becomes a less judgmental place to be because of what you are transforming inside of you. Do you feel the freedom in this? You cannot be wound up tight if you want, in order to expand consciousness. You have to be relaxed. And the more relaxed you are, the less of a grip your ego has on you. And you know why your ego grips you so hard? Because it's a valid part of your journey. It's like, hey, no, I need to be here. I'm going to free you of unworthiness. Right now, you think it's really cool to chase me out of town. But I'm your ticket out of unworthiness. Here's a litmus test to determine whether you're on the right or wrong spiritual path. Are you having fun? Because if you're not, you're on the wrong path. But if you're on a path that is like, wow, I'm healing, I'm expanding, I'm gathering wisdom, I'm loving myself, and this feels more like a spa treatment and less like traffic school. That's how you know you're getting this right. It's okay to have an ego. There's no doubt that all of us are going to go through balances and refinements and integrations, no doubt. It's kind of like if you're a child and you go, I'm just going to be in my room and I'm going to hide until I'm an adult. Because I'm embarrassed by this whole childhood thing. You can't. You have to commit to being a child in order to be an adult. It takes a kid to be an adult. And it takes the commitment of an adult to express the creativity and innocence and wonder of a kid inside your heart. It takes an ego to manifest an embodied soul. The real juice of a spiritual teaching is not disidentification. In fact, it is the process of identification. And when you actually allow yourself to have an ego, the real shift in consciousness is not disidentifying with your personal self, but it is the personal self identifying with being the divine. So it's not a disidentification with human beingness, but an identification with your radiance. Yes, I'm a person. Yes, I'm this person who comes from a family. I have ambitions. I have goals, all these things. And all of this is being created and played out by divine perfection. Identify with the light. But in order to identify with the light, you have to have an ego. Jesus didn't say, thank God there's no self here. Thank God it's all an illusion. My God. No. There was, forgive them, they know not what they do. Soul. God, why have you forsaken me? Ego. All one, not two. Dare to be the brightest light with an ego. Because with an ego, you actually then have the capacity to enjoy receiving and being the light that you are. Without an ego, you're just the light that doesn't know itself. We're afraid of fully committing to this life, trying our hardest, and what if I try my hardest and I do my best and it still isn't enough? That's what we're afraid of. Amen. Amen. So why don't we just admit it? Oh my God, I don't commit to my experiences because what if it's not enough? And then the world will confirm the way I've always felt about myself. Because we all know we secretly think such limiting things about ourselves, and then someone compliments us and we secretly disagree with them. Someone goes, oh my God, that was amazing. That was nothing, really. I'm terrible. Terrible. That's what we do. We call it humility. Oh my God. You just saved a cat from that burning tree. Burning tree. Make it a burning tree. It's more dramatic. Burning tree. Oh, it was nothing. Anyone could have done that. Anyone could have done that. That's what we do. And then when people don't compliment us, we sit there craving it. When's someone gonna notice me? When will someone give me a trophy? I want a gift certificate to something. Something. Come on. We play this game with ourselves. Just be you. Full on. Full on. Full on. Because your soul is already awake. The process of you becoming aware of how awake your soul is the very process of evolution. The embodiment of that which is already awake is called integration or embodiment. And that's a process, and it takes time. Sometimes years, sometimes lifetimes. We're all on different trajectories. Just take a moment and feel this. You're not working hard to cultivate stillness. Stillness is naturally here right now. You go, oh yeah, mind, totally silent. I can feel the entire room. Heart, not blasted open like you're on some sort of hallucinogenic. Just naturally, oh yeah, the heart's always open. I didn't notice that. Oh wow. Wholeness. Wholeness is natural. It's pleasant. This is nice. Doesn't matter how awake you profess to be. Without confidence, you don't fully stand for the wisdom you've gathered. Confidence. We all want confidence. And we're all waiting for there to be a town hall meeting, for there to be an official announcement that it's okay to be confident and it doesn't make you arrogant. And a lot of us hide in unworthiness because we're afraid of being arrogant, and we're hiding from the doorway of enlightenment, which is be your natural self with confidence. Confidence just means there's a reason I'm this way. I'm going to commit to my experience. Of course, it's going to change. Things can only get better, but here's where I'm at right now. That's why your life can sometimes seem like a mess, because the work of art is still in progress. Bear witness to the work of art that you are right now, and don't wait for that picture frame and spot in the museum to honor who you were born to become. In order to love yourself, you have to be yourself. And in order to be yourself, you have to be a self. You can act selflessly without denying yourself. You can't be all things to all people. And some of the time, regularly, you're going to have to put yourself first. To be a self means to take good care of yourself. And there's a growing number of spiritual beings that are going on a very radical, deeply entrenched journey of exploration in the name of truth that aren't taking care of themselves. And it's a great imbalance. So we must take care of ourselves. If you don't like you, it just means you don't know you. You can't not like you, because you can only not like something you have some space from. You're always you. You have to like you. You can't not like you. You can only dislike an idea you have about you. You can do that. Oh yeah, I do that a lot, right? You can do that. But you're not an idea. You're not an idea. And spiritual evolution is not about going from a small idea to a bigger idea. It's about waking up out of ideas. And then you can enjoy having ideas. And then you become a creator. But in order to be a creator, you have to know you. And once you know you, then you realize you can't help but like you. Just sit here for one moment and stop pretending that you are in the way of anything. Stop pretending you're in your own way. That's spiritual fancy talk. I think I'm in my own way. First of all, you can't be in your own way because you're not separate from you. Take one moment. You're not in anyone else's way. You're not in your own way. You're in no one's way. You are the way. You are the way. You are the way that you are. You are the way. You are the way home. You are the way to freedom. You are the way to love. But liking you is how you get there.